Okay, so hi. This video is basically going to be how I got into NYU with low stats and how you can basically get into any school with low stats if you really just kind of prove yourself. And I am going to show you how. Okay, so basically I have the Common application open right beside me, and there are 4 main parts to it. It's personal information, academic history, supporting information, and program materials. So I'm just going to go through each box and just tell you guys like what to fill it with as if like I was applying right now for college. So let's go. Okay, so the first box is personal information. This you can fill out in like 5 minutes. I'm not going to go too much into it. It's basically just about you, your race, ethnicity, where you live, yada yada yada. You already know the drill. It takes 5 minutes. Okay, so academic history. Academic history is basically just all of your numbers. So I'm going to say mine right now. And before I say my numbers, I'm going to note it real quick that I am a transfer student. I'm transferring from UCF to NYU. And actually, let me give you a little bit of background about myself first. So as I just said, I am a transfer student. I'm transferring from UCF to NYU. And one of my biggest tips for you guys is that if you don't feel like staying close for home for college and it's just not your thing, go with your gut and try to go to a college outside of where you live or just not as close to home. That was my biggest regret, and that is why I'm transferring, because I noticed that close to home just wasn't my thing, and that's okay because it's not everyone's thing. So if you have the ability to, try to skedaddle, because college is a time for growth and a time for you to learn yourself. So that's my biggest tip. And if you are like a little weary about college and like super nervous, then go close to home for your first year. That's totally okay. I mean, that's what I did. And then transfer your remaining years if you just feel like it's not the right fit for you. Okay, so back to academic history, my numbers. So like I just said, I'm a transfer student, so I'm gonna have like multiple numbers. So, as a transfer student, they still took my SAT score and my high school like GPA and all those numbers. So it's super important that you focus on those numbers, but numbers isn't everything, and I will explain that later. So my SAT was a 1220. Yeah, I know, it's super low, especially for a college like NYU. Yeah. But we will get into how to make up for these numbers in the next part. My high school GPA was a 3.5. And then my college GPA was a 4.0. So like going from a 3.5 to a 4.0 is obviously like a huge difference. And colleges love to see that. They love to see that like there's an upward trend. Yes, it would have been great if I got a 4.0 in high school, but I'm not perfect, and there's no perfect student, and that's okay. You don't have to be perfect. They're not looking for perfect. They're looking for someone who has had a change. You can see the change on paper through the numbers, and that has found personal growth. And as long as you're having an upward trend, you're totally fine. Do not worry about the numbers. Yes, they are important, but nothing to like stress about. Okay, so that was basically my academic history, and now moving on to supporting information. Supporting information is the third box. Super important. This is kind of almost serving you as a redemption for like your numbers if they are low, because it's showing that like you did multiple stuff throughout high school and still kept like okay grades. But like if you were getting the okay grades, there is a reason, because you were doing something else too. You were juggling 2 things at once. So let's get into that. So the first thing in supporting information is experiences. This you want to load up with employment, volunteer, and extracurriculars. Do fill this up with things that are passionate to you and make you unique. Colleges all the time get like a bunch of like whatever volunteer experience, like volunteer stuff that everyone does, like you kind of just did it to get your hours. Find volunteer experience that you have a passion for and that connects to everything else. So for example, my volunteer experience, everything was under like one specific program through Florida Hospital Church. Obviously that's a big name. If I can stick to one program, that looks good because it shows that I can really connect with everyone there and that I'm like a person that really sticks to it. Employment, not a lot of kids have jobs in high school, so if you don't have a job, I'm sure it's not that big of a deal. And if you do have a job, even if you work like minimal hours, still put it in there. It's super important. I just put that I worked at Abercrombie. That's what I did over the summer, and so I got to put that in. And lastly, my extracurriculars, I put in tennis. I only paid it for a year, still put it in because it's important, shows that you did something. And I also put in all of my acting schools I went to. So that is something that makes my application like unique among many, because not a lot of people go to acting schools. And if you show that you do like multiple of something, and for me it was acting schools, it looks really good, makes me look super unique. So definitely put stuff that makes you look unique and that you have a passion for. So the next box in supporting information is achievements. I didn't really have a lot in this box. I only had 3 things. So I just put National Honor Society, Perfect Attendance Award, and an award I won at a film festival. The next part is documents. I didn't put anything. I really don't know what's supposed to go in there, so you don't really have to worry about that. And then the last one is just affirmation statements, so just checking boxes saying that you agree to everything. So now for the finale, and what I think is the most important part of the application is program materials. This is so important. Okay, so if you're like me, they don't really have like the scores, the numbers, the grades, you know, they just weren't there for you. If you're like me, program materials is basically your essays and letters of recommendation. And honestly, I think this is what saved me and honestly why I got into NYU. So basically you get 2 essay questions. As a transfer student, I don't know if mine are different from yours, but I'm sure they are very, very similar. My first essay question was why NYU? So my biggest tip for this is find a program within the school that you like and that you can talk about. And don't find a very general program. Find one that shows that you have done research into something that you want to study there. So for me, I chose a program that I wanted to talk about that only 1 in 11 schools offer, and I was like, that's honestly why I want to go, because NYU has so many unique opportunities and it's a big learning and growing step in my life. Also choose like a main topic around your essay. So as a transfer student, I put like personal growth was like my main topic, and so I put like how my old college like didn't really suit me and I'm looking for a new beginning, a new growth. And then write about like why NYU then. So like what makes this school so unique and what makes this school click for you among all the other schools in the nations. That's what they want to hear. They don't want to hear the general stuff. They don't want to hear that it's in the city and why the city is so good for you and yada yada yada. They want to hear about the school and why you fit the school. So that is my biggest tip for the first question. And then my second question was the objectives you hope to achieve at the school. So for me, I basically chose like 5 strengths that I wanted to work on at the school, and how these strengths paired with NYU will make me further grow as an individual and as a transfer student. Bam, it's super easy, super simple. You don't have to make these long, drawn-out essays. They don't want to read a whole book about your life story or anything. Make it sweet, simple, short, but not too short, and to the point. Mine were like 500 words long. Don't go crazy. Make it to the point and fill it with like all your love and all your heart, because that's what they want to hear, and they want to hear about you and why you and this school are perfect for each other. Okay, so the last part of the application is recommendations. Okay, I cannot stress how important these letters of recommendations are. And this is another thing that honestly saved my application if it was just going to be numbers. So for NYU, I don't know about any other schools, you have to submit at least one letter of recommendation from a teacher, but there are 4 slots in total for letters of recommendation. Fill those up. Honestly, fill these recommendations up all the way, because it is so important. So in these recommendations, you will have a professional, a personal, and an academic. For professional, I asked the lady I volunteered under to be my letter of recommendation, because I had been volunteering with her for a long time and it made sense. She acted as a boss to me. For personal, I put my acting teacher, because she's been with me for almost like 6 years. She saw me grow, and my whole application was about personal growth. So when you're doing personal, don't choose like a family member or friend. Whoever is viewing your application will know that that is your family member or friend. It's so easy to spot out. So choose someone who has seen you grow and who knows you for your work, not your personal life. And lastly, for academic, I actually didn't choose a teacher. I chose my tutor, because she had been teaching me since 10th grade throughout now my freshman year of college. So I thought she was the perfect candidate, because she's also seen my growth pattern and how I've changed as a student in the best way possible. And it also made my application unique, choosing a tutor over a teacher, because it shows that I can also make bonds outside of school. So, honestly, that was it. That is the common application as a whole. So those are the 4 main parts to it. Honestly, for 2020 seniors going into the school year, applying to college, or if you're any other year, or if you're a transfer student like me, don't let this application scare you. Don't let numbers scare you. Even if you don't know who your recommendations are going to be, don't let that scare you. Honestly, it's all going to work out in the end. And even if you don't think you're going to get in, I did not think I was going to get in, still submit your application, because the opportunities are endless, and you have nothing to lose by submitting it. Maybe $100, because it's much cost. But after that, you have nothing to lose. Honestly, submit it. Try to apply for every college that you can dream of, and don't be afraid to take the risk. That is my biggest advice. Good luck in your application season, and honestly, if you have any questions, I'll link my Insta down below, so you can just DM me. Feel free to. I'll answer you as soon as possible, and I'm excited to see where you guys go. Bye.